a bundled program, what we call international programs. It's in 12-week segments, starting at 5.0 IELTS, and various levels can take you up to 6.5. We have a business diploma with a marketing specialization. This currently is being delivered online, as all programs at Stenberg are being delivered online due to the coronavirus, the COVID situation in British Columbia. In fact, all of my staff are working from home as well. Nobody is on campus right now, unless in very limited ways. But we have worked very hard to prepare our campus to have more and more people return to it this fall, and put all appropriate safety measures in place so that those students that do have to be on campus and those staff that do have to be on campus can actually do so safely. So we'll see what happens, but we are prepared to deliver certain courses on campus this fall. And if the situation permits, we will deliver all of our programs content on campus. But we are also prepared, if the situation does not improve substantially with respect to COVID, then we are prepared to continue delivering online also. So the business diploma with a marketing specialization, it's 1 year long. You can see the tuition there. The great part about this program is that it has pathways into 2 separate institutions, both of which provide the opportunity for graduates to pursue and apply for a postgraduate work permit. So our business program acts as the first year of a 2-year program going into British Columbia Institute of Technology. So you do a year with us, you do 8 months with them, and then you're eligible to apply for a postgraduate work permit. Or you can choose to do a full degree at BCIT with just another 12 months. So that means you can complete a full degree through BCIT in business with 2 years, 8 months of study if you carry straight through. So that's a great pathway for the more ambitious among you. And then we have a pathway also into Yorkville University, 1 year with us and 3 years with them to complete a degree and apply for postgrad work permit. We have a counseling therapist program. This is a 2-year program with us, and then it carries on into the BCIT pathway for another 8 months in business, so that you can learn how to set up your own business as a counseling therapist in British Columbia and be eligible to apply for a postgraduate work permit. We have an early childhood educator program, and this has an international version, which means you can take 12 weeks of English at the front. That's the same for business as well. But I know that most people, I don't imagine anyone from Ghana will require English up front, given that the English in Ghana is excellent. So I don't anticipate that would be an option for you. However, we are the only institution in British Columbia that has an early childhood education program with a co-op. This program also has a pathway to BCIT, but there are temporary foreign work permit job offers available for early childhood educators, because we have a desperate shortage of ECEs in the province. So that is a different way to access the immigration process in Canada, is through a temporary foreign work permit job offer, and ECE is a good avenue for that. In addition, and this is something you can look up online, there's something called the Caregiver Pilot program within the immigration process for Canada. And this program is a great preparation for a certain category, child caregiver, in that caregiver pilot, which also acts as a pathway towards permanent residency application. And I won't go into all the details here. I'm actually not supposed to by law. I'm not a registered immigration consultant, but these are things that you can look up through a Google search of Canada's IRCC, which is our immigration ministry. We have a licensed optician program. And again, this has a pathway to BCIT, but it also has temporary foreign work permit job offers out of co-op for folks that do well in their co-op and obtain the full licensure as an optician. Again, there is a significant shortage of licensed opticians right across Canada. Employers cannot find enough qualified staff, so temporary foreign work permit job offers are available through employers. We have a healthcare assistant program. This is probably our longest running program at Stenberg College. We're very well known for training high quality healthcare assistants because we've been doing it for so long. And again, this is a program. It does not have an articulation pathway to post-secondary, but there are temporary foreign work permit job offers for healthcare assistants available in BC. We have a serious shortage of healthcare assistants in our province and actually right across Canada. We have a licensed practical nursing program, and this program we would recommend mostly for anyone who has a background in nursing already. It is one of the pathways for registered nurses or people with an actual healthcare background. That's because it does not have postgraduate work permit eligibility. We don't have a pathway to another institution for postgraduate work permit eligibility. So this program, you're relying on a federal skilled worker immigration pathway, which is again something you should familiarize yourself with through a Google search of Canada's immigration pathways. And you'd be looking for a temporary foreign work permit job offer as a licensed practical nurse. But if you were a registered nurse in Ghana, in your home country, and you have multiple years of work experience, you may choose to do the licensed practical nursing program and with a job offer, access the federal skilled worker process or even attempt for the British Columbia Provincial Nominee Program pathway. Which brings us to one of the better, we believe, the better pathways into Canada and the better ways to access a stay back or postgraduate, a postgraduate work opportunity and an immigration pathway through education, and that's our postgraduate diploma in Canadian nursing. So it's my understanding that quite a number of the folks on the call today are registered nurses, and that's great. It's great if you're not a registered nurse and you're interested in one of the other programs, that's fine too. We'll certainly take questions on those. But the postgraduate diploma in Canadian nursing has been specifically designed to support, guide, and prepare internationally educated nurses for the very complicated and very complex licensure process in British Columbia. Many nurses come to British Columbia from around the world. They actually get their permanent residency before they come to Canada, many of them. But when they get here, they find the process to be too long, too complicated, too expensive, and they have nobody to guide them and help them And they end up not ever practicing as nurses in British Columbia. And we at Stenberg College, we view that as a real tragedy. So we developed this program in order to help people to navigate that process. It's a total of 90 weeks long, and in fact, we're in the process of making it a little bit longer by adding to the co-op and adding some breaks into the program. It has a total of 30 weeks of co-op, and what that means is that during the co-op periods, you will be able to work up to full-time hours. On a student visa in Canada, you can work full-time hours during any scheduled breaks in a program, which is great. During active classes, you can work as much as 20 hours per week on your student visa, which is extremely important to supporting yourself here as a student. But the way that we've designed the co-ops is that the co-op is 20 hours a week, and then you're able to work outside of the co-op another 20 hours a week. And by that means, you are able to work lots of hours, earn money, and support yourself. One of the great things about this program is that right at the beginning of it, we train you to become a registered care aide. The first portion of the program prepares you to be a registered care aide. So you'll remember a couple of slides back, I talked about the healthcare assistant program. That's a 30-week long program. If you're already a registered nurse in another country, you just take a condensed form of that program. It's 18 weeks long, and you qualify to practice as a registered care aide in BC. We then assist you to obtain a job in that field, and all your co-ops will be in that field as well. So you're earning a good wage, as much as $24 an hour, and you are working in a Canadian healthcare context. You're working with licensed practical nurses, you're working with registered nurses, just at the same time as you're studying all about how registered nurses practice in Canada and in British Columbia. So you'll have an opportunity to be applying some of the things that you're learning, and that's going to assist you not just with your program, but eventually it's going to assist you with your licensure and with getting a job as a registered nurse. It's also really, really important, and it's one of the unique things about our program. The registered care aide designation is a prerequisite to carry on into additional education that you will require in order to gain licensure. So we can only provide so much. We prepare you for the actual licensure assessment. After that assessment, you will need to progress on to a recognized public post-secondary institution. There's only one that in the province that you can go to, and you'll need to take a little bit of additional education. And that education is online. And of course, you can't have a student visa for an online program. So when you're in the co-op with us and on our student visa, taking care of your co-op hours, you will be studying online with our partner institution, Thompson Rivers University, to complete your licensure education, and thereafter go forward and write the NCLEX, become registered, and get a job offer. And at that point, you will be in an excellent position to access the Canadian immigration process through either the federal skilled worker pathway, or, and this is something you should look up as well, all of you nurses out there, look up the BC, that's the British Columbia, Provincial Nominee Program. And acquaint yourself with that. There's several categories within that within that policy that allow for a faster pathway to permanent residency application for qualified individuals. And people who get a job as a registered nurse or as a licensed practical nurse, and who have been a nurse in their home country with 2 or more years of work experience as a registered nurse, and who have several other qualifications and prerequisites, you will qualify for the BC Provincial Nominee Program with a job offer. And that is an excellent way to pursue permanent residency. And that's what this program was designed to help you achieve. So the prerequisites for the program are here. And again, certainly this is information that Dreams will be able to assist you with. It's also available on our website and in all of our literature. But a bachelor's degree in nursing, and 2 years of full-time equivalent work experience as a registered nurse within the last 5 years. Diploma in nursing can be considered if the work experience is, the work experience, the two years is within the last 10 years. A diploma in nursing may be considered if your work experience is for 4 years or more. And again, this is not for licensure purposes, this work experience prerequisite. It is for immigration purposes. My assumption here is that anyone coming into this program really wishes to remain, live, work, and stay in Canada and pursue permanent residency. So that's why these prerequisites are in place, because we don't want you to take the whole program with us, get a job offer, and then not be able to complete your successful permanent residency application because we forgot something at the beginning. You need current registration in your country of origin, and you will need to demonstrate all of this through the process. You'll need to verify all of these things through a process known as NNAS, and that we'll talk about that a little bit later. And a police certificate from your country of origin, just to make sure that you're not the boss of a crime gang or something like that. And that's just standard for any program, international program, I'm sure. But in healthcare, that's a prerequisite for all of our students, no matter where they come from in the world. One of the outcomes, as I mentioned, this program is designed to prepare you to become a registered care aide. The reason for that is so that you can support yourself in healthcare practice, earning good wages in healthcare practice, and also so that you can pre-qualify for going to Thompson Rivers University for their transitional courses. We also, however, through the assessment process with our regulatory college, the BC College of Nursing Professionals, through their assessment process, you can choose to be assessed as a licensed practical nurse and at a registered nurse level, both at the same time. And we really encourage students to make that choice. So that you can have choices with employment. Students coming out of our program are going to qualify to go forward and write the national exam, assuming everything goes well in the assessment, and that's really up to the individual students. But we know that most every student should pass clear through the LPN component of the assessment. And thereafter, all you need to do is write the national exam. We support and prepare students for that also. You write the national exam as a licensed practical nurse, and then thereafter you will be eligible to receive job offers as an LPN. As I said, you can access both the British Columbia Provincial Nominee Program and the Federal Skilled Worker Program as a licensed practical nurse also, which means if you choose You don't have to complete all your transitional coursework. You don't have to write NCLEX as a registered nurse. You don't have to achieve the IELTS scores as a registered nurse, which are very high in Canada. You may choose a career as a licensed practical nurse. Before I carry on, I should probably say a few words about the type of money you can earn at these various levels of nursing, and why would you want to come to Canada and go to all this trouble to become one of these three nursing designations, or all three of these nursing designations. As a registered care aide in Canada and British Columbia, you can earn a base pay of about $45,000 per year and up. So it's a solid income. Certainly you can live comfortably on wages as a registered care aide. As a licensed practical nurse and working in the system, you're earning $65,000 a year and up. We have graduates of our licensed practical nurse program who work a lot of overtime and do specialty work, and they earn over $100,000 Canadian a year. This is a very, very good salary. For registered nurses, you can earn even more. And the median income for a registered nurse in British Columbia is about $114,000 a year. That's the median. So you can earn quite a bit more than that. And again, you can develop in specialty areas. You can go into teaching as a registered nurse. There's many, many doors that open and opportunities that are open for registered nurses in Canada. All of these professions, if you're working in the healthcare system and are government employed, you will have, in addition to your salary, you will have holiday weeks, as many as I think it's up to 6, that you get fairly generous holiday pay and holiday weeks, as well as full benefits. So you get medical expenses covered for you over and above what all Canadians and permanent residents get. And so these are very, very good careers, very well respected, very well paid careers in Canada and in British Columbia. So what's the process for going forward if you're interested? Well, you need to contact Dreams Consult for counseling and guidance. And my thanks to Dreams for hosting this and bringing everybody together on this call. You submit all your required documents, no matter what program you're choosing. There's going to be some prerequisites. There's going to be document application to be done. You pay an application fee, and you move forward for a visa application. And what's so special about Stenberg College? Well, off the top, I mentioned we are a private post-secondary institution in British Columbia. Unfortunately, in Canada, that means that our graduates are not eligible for postgraduate work permit unless you carry on to one of our pathway partners. And I did explain a little bit about that with each program. Dreams and Conquest can explain more of that if you want to know. But because we're a private college, we are able to do things quite a bit differently than big universities and big colleges. We have about 800 students at Stenberg at any one time. Many of those study online with us across Canada. And we've been around for about 30 years now. We are the most respected private institution in the province of British Columbia. We have free ESL and academic tutorial support for all of our students. We have a great many students at Stenberg who are new Canadians, so not international students, but they still require support such as ESL support, and so we provide that free for our whole student body. One-to-one student support and coaching sessions. As an international student, you will have specific supports from international education specialists and people who know what it's like to be international students because they were international students at one time, and so they can provide an additional level of support. We have a lot of campus life events. Every month there's something running for not just for international students, but for all of our students. We arrange all of your co-ops for you. We also arrange employment for you. So we work with you to secure employment when you graduate. And in the case of all of our programs, our goal is to just walk with you through the entire process of education and then out into pathways, or if you're pursuing employment and a permanent residency application, we guide you and support you that way as well. We do provide some free immigration consultancy services to a point. If you require really specialized services, then we can direct you to vetted resources. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, which means unfortunately you're going to have to go back to seeing my face. And there I am. So I know that there's probably lots of questions. Sagar, is there anything else that you would like me to cover from a general point of view, but just before I answer questions?
No, I think we are good now, Mr. Jeremy. Thank you so much for sharing all the information. And I think now I'll take care, and I think I'll be able to answer the questions now personally.
Okay, excellent. I'm happy to remain on and answer some of the questions that I see here in the column. There is one, for example, about midwifery. Unfortunately, we don't have a midwife program. That is a full degree program in British Columbia. And as a midwife, and unless you carry a registered nurse designation, you will not qualify to come into the postgraduate diploma in Canadian nursing. However, there may be other options for you in healthcare programs. But if you really want to be a midwife, I encourage you to do a Google search for midwife programs in British Columbia. And there's a question in a certificate in health assistance. Again, that would translate well into coming into a healthcare assistant program with us, or possibly into an LPN program. But at the entry level, doing a healthcare assistant program is a good pathway. As I said, there are job opportunities for healthcare assistants, international student healthcare assistants, on temporary foreign work permit job offers. Great question. We do have a psychiatric nursing program. And I'm not sure if this question is asking because John Jehovah, Shalom Amu, I think you're asking because you are a psychiatric nurse, perhaps. If you are a psychiatric nurse, you should Google British Columbia College of Nursing Professionals and look at the process to have your nursing designation recognized. We do have a psychiatric nursing program. Unfortunately, it is a completely online program, and it's always been an online program. We're not just delivering it online because of COVID. So you cannot get a student visa for our psychiatric nursing program, unfortunately, because it is registered with the government as online. Yeah, so certified nursing assistants, there's a few questions around that from individuals I can see here. That probably best aligns with our healthcare assistant program, the 30-week program. We are adding a co-op to that program, actually. And so that's a program you want to look at. Unfortunately, I don't believe you can get a student visa. You can't get a student visa for just a 30-week program. So you would want to take the international version of that, which has 12 weeks of academic English prep and other prep at the front of it. So
Jeremy,
that's,
may I come in at this point and then help with the questions are a lot, and I think most of them are concerned because in Ghana, the nurses are different. We have a 2-year nursing program we normally refer to as the certificate nurses. And then we have a 3-year diploma nursing program. Both of them are able to license after they are done with the program, whether it is a 2 years or it's a 3 years, they are both able to do their licensure and they both have licenses to operate in Ghana.
yeah.
But just that the 2 years are issued with certificate nurse, a certificate credential. And those who do the 3 years are issued with a diploma as their credential. So that is why a lot of them, especially the certificate ones, are a bit concerned. So they want to know if there's an opportunity for them. We have mental health nurses, psychiatric nurses, just like it was asked. And then we have the general nurses as well. So
Right.
I'm sure all these 3 categories will find a place on the nursing program, especially the LPN program.
Yes. Yeah. So for certificate nurses, I would say no. Our prerequisite is diploma. This is because of the requirements for licensure and how foreign credentials are recognized. And I didn't go into all of the details about applying for postgraduate diploma in Canadian nursing and applying for registered nurse licensure in BC because it would take quite a while for me to explain all the steps. But you before you even leave your home country as a registered nurse, you want to start the process. You would go to the website for BC College of Nursing Professionals. You would start the NNAS, the National Nurse Assessment Service process, and that looks at your work experience, your credential. It assesses your credential in the school that you came from, and your criminal record check. The last part of the NNAS process looks at your English, and you have 12 months to complete that process. But we really encourage people to start it in their home country before they leave, because you have to gather documents and send them off direct to NNAS. And so they want to see diploma nurses and degree nurses. And that also is going to increase your points for permanent residency. Having a nursing certificate, you're not going to qualify for the same number of points when it comes time for permanent residency. And that's not a good thing. So if you are a certificate nurse, that more so aligns with what we call a healthcare assistant, or possibly a licensed practical nurse. And so you want to look at those options instead.
Okay. So basically, the summary of the whole point is that if they are a certificate nurse, which is a 2-year certificate program, they would probably qualify for the healthcare assistant program.
Yeah, for sure they would. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, they would qualify for healthcare assistant. And remember, our healthcare assistant program takes in domestic students and international students who have had no background in nursing necessarily. So the program is designed to take you right from the start all the way through. And as I say, the international version, because in order to get a student visa coming into Canada, your program needs to be 8 months or longer. Or to qualify, pardon me, to be able to work while you're on your student visa, the program needs to be.
Okay. And those who are midwives are totally out. They can't even do the LPN program at all. Because the midwifery certificate in Ghana is a diploma. It's a 3 years diploma. So would they qualify for the LPN, or they don't qualify for any of the health programs?
They qualify to enter into our LPN program. But again, I'd be careful with what is the pathway exit for that individual.
Okay.
And that's where they really need to get immigration advice. They need to go to the website. I encourage everybody to go to the Canada Immigration. It's called IRCC. Plug that in, and go to the resources there that explain the point system for applying for permanent residency. And, and you'll see what I'm talking about, how it gives you points for prior work experience, points for prior education, etc.
Okay, so the whole summary of that is, although they have the opportunity to study LPN, you are worried that they might not find something to keep them in Canada if they want to stay back. That is your concern.
Correct,
Okay.
and that's I'm not interested in taking anybody's money,
Exactly.
only to have them not be able to carry through on a pathway. And that's why we have the prerequisites that we have, and we're quite strict about that. We want for people to succeed.
Okay.
I did see a question. There's a lot of questions about IELTS.
Yeah.
I think you guys can answer those questions. Yeah, unfortunately, the regulatory bodies for nursing in British Columbia set the standards for what, like all of our prerequisite standards are set by those regulatory bodies. And when it comes to English for nursing, they're quite strict as well. So those are what they are. And unfortunately, I can't change them. I wish I could. For programs like ECE or business, the business diploma, we accept English equivalencies. But this is what is extremely important for everybody to know, because I know nobody in the world, especially people coming from countries where English is already spoken, nobody likes having to do IELTS.
Yes.
And just so that you know, even when people go for their permanent residency, even if they came from Ireland or England, or they still have to do IELTS.
Even the UK, yes.
Okay? So it discriminates equally, I guess. That's what I would say about that. But unfortunately, your IELTS score is extremely important in the PR process, the permanent residency process. Our system gives a lot of points for English standard. And so that's important to bear in mind. There's just no getting around that. You want to be able to score well on that test. Somebody asked about early childhood education opportunities after graduation. I'll just circle back to that because it's not all about nursing here. Early childhood educators are in high demand in BC. We have government subsidized daycare here and childcare. So there's a couple of pathways. There's several pathways for ECE. You may choose to carry on to our pathway with British Columbia Institute of Technology and do a business diploma with them afterwards. Maybe you want to open your own daycare. That's perfect for that. So after completing that program, you would be eligible for a postgraduate work permit application. Number two, you can go into our co-op and we would connect you with an employer who would offer a temporary foreign work permit job offer for you. TFW, temporary foreign work permit. You can look that up. You can look up LMIA. If you plug that into IRCC or into a Google search for Canada, you may have heard of that as well. But we have employers who are desperate for ECEs and will offer temporary foreign work permit job offers. That would allow you to remain in Canada and pursue permanent residency. And number three is you can access a job through the Caregiver Pilot Program. Child Caregiver Pilot Program. There's two types of caregiver pilot in Canada in our immigration system. You can do elderly care, and these are jobs in people's homes, caring for an elderly individual or caring for a child. And so I encourage you to look up those as well.
Okay, so let me put this into summary for everyone. So although Stenberg College being a private institution, students will not be eligible for post-study work opportunities. All the programs are so professionally based that they will be able to find readily available jobs to do within the British Columbia province or beyond the province, right?
Correct, correct. Or, as I said, and this is also really important, for the business program, counseling program, early childhood education program, and optician program, all those programs have a pathway onto another institution where graduates will have the opportunity to apply for a postgraduate work permit.
Okay, okay. That's good to know. I think my final question for the nursing is, if someone is a diploma nurse and has so many years of work experience, that with the diploma, can they be qualified for the postgraduate diploma in Canadian nursing, or they still need to have a bachelor's degree in nursing?
So we accept people with a bachelor's degree or with a diploma, but if you are a diploma nurse, because there are diploma nurses in other jurisdictions as well. So India has diploma nurses. I think the Philippines still has some. They've moved to degree now. India is moving to degree. But you need more years of work experience, 4 or more years of work experience as a nurse in order to qualify. Yeah. And that, again, that has to do with immigration and our concerns with immigration.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so I think now we need to talk about the financing. A lot of the people are interested in knowing there are no upfront tuition requirements. So if you could just elaborate on that. First of all, I just want everyone to know that there are no scholarships available, because I've seen some questions on scholarships. So I just wanted to clarify that. But however, I want us to understand how the no upfront tuition works. It doesn't mean the program is free. It just means that you are not required to pay a tuition fee upfront. So if you could elaborate and explain exactly how the payment is going to be done afterwards, after the free period, so they can understand.
Yeah, so right now, obviously, everyone's aware that we're in a global pandemic, and the way that that's affecting British Columbia and Canada is that obtaining a student visa is not it's not possible right now. There's very few places in the world where visas are being processed for Canada, and we don't know for sure when international flights will resume to Canada and when students will be able to get here. So we are delivering the business program and the early childhood education program, and the nursing program will be delivered online for as long as necessary this fall. And even for students that are able to get to Canada, or students who are already here, we do have some international students that got here before COVID closed the borders. And so they want to attend classes safely. They will be able to take the classes online until such time as it is safe to resume in class. And for our international students, until such time as they are able to access the embassies and the high commissions to get visa and to get on an international flight and come to Canada. So we're making it possible for students overseas to join in the online delivery of those programs for no tuition. You have to pay just the reg fee and assessment fees, and any textbooks that you require will be your responsibility to purchase. But there's no tuition payment unless and until you get a student visa and come to Canada, or it is determined one way or the other that you're eligible for a student visa. If you go through the process and do not receive your student visa, you will not receive any tuition, nor will but you will also not receive any certificate of completion or transcript of grades. We'll just we'll go our separate ways and hope to see you someday in the future. So
let me summarize it. Generally, as you've all heard, flights are not working. Even in Ghana, embassies are not working. So even if you should apply for the visa online, you will not be able to go for your appointment. So Stenberg College is trying to give students an opportunity, because even those in Canada at the moment are still not going to school. They are all studying online. So this is an opportunity for you to start the program online without paying the required tuition fee, because we don't know whether you're going to get a visa or not. So you just have to apply, pay your registration fee, and if there's any textbook that is required, you pay for the textbook as well. But the required tuition for the program, you hold on to that until we apply for the visa and you receive a visa. That is when you transfer your fees to Stenberg and then you travel. So if you don't get a visa, you don't need to transfer any money to Stenberg College. So that's basically the summary. But bear in mind that not all programs are delivered online. So I think the LPN is not part, right? We are talking about the postgraduate diploma in nursing, which is for graduate nurses and diploma nurses with 4 or more years experience. And any other program that can start online, I think the business diploma also has an online, version. So all those who are interested in starting now can, get in touch with us to go through with the application, because you can start online, study for a while, and then apply for your visa, get the visa before you pay your tuition fees and travel to Canada.
Yeah.
So that is the summary.
That is correct. That is correct. And so for business, which is we're able to deliver the entire program online. For early childhood education, we can deliver almost all of the program online. Okay. But for LPN, there's just too much lab work and practical hands-on. We can't do that properly. You have students here are having to come into the campus for segments. And with the postgraduate diploma in Canadian nursing, also, we're only able to deliver so much online. So we'll be able to deliver for the first couple to 3 months. But after that, we'll have, if you're not able to get your visa and come to Canada by then, you'll have to stop and wait for that opportunity.
Okay. So I want to encourage everyone that I believe that, there are no guarantees here, but I believe that if you start your program online, it sends a sense of seriousness to the Canadian, High Commission that this student has already started their program and is probably serious about the program and could increase your chances of getting a visa. So if you are really serious about studying the postgraduate diploma in Canadian nursing, I think you should apply now and join the September batch, the fall intake, so that you can start the program online, and having evidence that you've already started the program online could increase your chances of getting the visa to join them on campus. So that is something I want to share with you to encourage you.
Yeah, so definitely, and I see some questions, many questions here that are excellent. I wish I could answer them all. If you're wanting to take the LPN program, you will have to wait until the borders open, because we're not offering that on a follow along online. Lots of questions about midwifery. For all of the midwives there, I strongly recommend, please go to the BC College of Nursing Professionals website. They have excellent resources there, a lot of information, probably too much information actually, and and take a look at, I think there is a drop down there for midwifery. Please look into what it would take to have your credentials recognized in Canada. We don't specialize in midwifery. I apologize for that. I also saw a question from a visual art student. That's interesting. They're asking about a healthcare assistant. Well, if you're a visual arts student and you love visual arts, then I would like for you to try to get in touch with Dreams or with us to discuss a different pathway. We have a partnership. I'm the president of 2 colleges actually. One is Stenberg College, and the other one is called Center for Arts and Technology. And it specializes in digital arts, digital media programs, 2D animation, 3D animation, visual film, etc. Okay. We have a partnership though with a public institution. They deliver our 2D animation and also our 3D animation programs. They're 2 years long. They're fully eligible for postgraduate work permit application on graduation. So if you really want to remain in the field of visual arts, There's lots of great jobs in that field here in BC. Then I would like Michael Abedu, I'm talking to you. Please do ask questions around that, and we can guide you towards possibly applying to Langara College, which is our partner institution for that, and pursuing your career in visual arts. It's a great career here. It pays very well.
Okay, so I think all the questions are very similar, and I'm sure all the summaries and everything would explain everything, but we can definitely go back to the chat room and then try to respond to everybody. But at this point, I think we've spent over an hour already, and I just want to say thank you for, sacrificing for us, because I know it's very early in British Columbia. So thank you for being with us and sharing all this useful information to us and our students. So we're definitely going to follow up and get as many applications as we can to you, and hopefully we'll get some of them to start the program this fall. So thank you very much. Saga, do you have anything to add, or we can just end the session?
I think Mr. Jeremy has shared all the information. Plus, if you have any queries after this, then you can always contact me, and I'll try and clear them.
Fantastic, no problem. Thank you very much. So, thank you, Jeremy. Yes, thank you so much.
Please, it is absolutely no sacrifice for me to come on and speak with you. I just have so much respect for anyone who has the strength and the courage to leave their home country and pursue a life in another country through education. If you choose to be a Stenberg student or a Center for Arts and Technology student, then that's wonderful. We look forward to working with you. If we're not the right choice for you, but you still choose to come to Canada, well then I want to welcome you to our country. That's just as good. I just hope that everything works out for you. I want the absolute best for you, and I want for your dreams to be fulfilled in Canada if that's what you want to do. And I've done quite a bit of work with Ghanaians in my previous life in a previous job. I've got some very fond memories of working with the Ghanaian people that I've met. Every one of you is just has a just wonderful personality that I've met anyways, and love life, and tremendously positive individuals. So I look forward to hopefully meeting some of you at Stenberg. I wish you the very best of luck, and I wish you and your families health and safety through the pandemic as well. All the best to all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We wish you all same as well. Thank you. Have a great day. Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You can answer, Ali.